We believe in an America that says our economic strength doesn't come from the top down. It comes from the middle out. It comes from the bottom up.
In the last election, President Obama made something called middle-out economics a central part of his strategy to grow the U.S. economy. But what is middle-out economics, and how is it different from the failed supply-side or quote-unquote trickle-down economics of the past 30 years? Why does the president agree with economists who believe we need a strong middle class in order to have strong economic growth? I'm Heather Boushey, Senior Economist at the Center for American Progress. In the following presentation, I'm going to explain how a stronger middle class is the engine that can power our economy to grow faster and to create more jobs. So let's begin. As you all well know, there's a big debate going on in this country about how to make our economy stronger and more stable. While it may seem sometimes like the various sides don't agree on anything, economists actually do agree on some things. For one thing, they generally agree on 6 factors that make an economy grow. 1. The level of human capital, and whether talent is developed and encouraged to boost the economy's productivity. 2. Innovation, measured by the number of talented, motivated, and creative entrepreneurs who create new businesses. 3. Strong and stable demand, which creates the markets for goods and services and creates the incentive for investors to plan for the future, to invest, and to hire. 4. Governance, as in the quality of political and economic institutions. This includes the quality of corporate governance, political institutions, and a legal structure that enforces contracts. 5. Investment in public goods, education, health, and infrastructure, which lays a foundation for private sector investment. 6. Accessible and affordable financial capital, which allow firms and entrepreneurs to make real investments that allow business expansion and creates technological progress. While these things are all important, since the late 1970s, U.S. policymakers have emphasized one as the primary focus. Over the last 3 decades, we've seen the dominance of an economic theory that emphasizes putting money in the hands of investors or quote-unquote job creators as the key way government can make the economy grow. Here's how it's supposed to work. The government puts more money in the hands of wealthy investors, and they invest that money into the economy, and the economy grows, and that growth cascades down to the middle class, who share in the overall prosperity. Now, we've been experimenting with this theory for about 30 years, so we have a pretty good test of how well it works. So, how has it worked, particularly for the middle class? Here's what trickled down. It hasn't been good. As this chart shows, middle-class incomes have stagnated while skyrocketing for the top 1%. That's made us more unequal and made our middle class smaller. More recently, we've seen the effect of supply-side policies in the aftermath of the Great Recession. While the top 1% recovered quite nicely, the bottom 99% have not. So, the middle class is still suffering. Since the start of the recession, income is down by 7%. Clearly, something's not right with supply side for most Americans. So, what have we learned? It turns out that the supply-siders had it backwards. It turns out that a strong middle class is a key driver of a strong economy, not just a happy byproduct. Why is this? Well, first, a strong middle class demands and gets better education for its children, which improves our nation's human capital. The same is true with international comparisons. Also, a strong middle class provides businesses with the customers they need to grow and hire and sell things. If you want to boost demand, you should focus on boosting the middle class. They are, of course, the source of most consumption in the economy. And, as this chart shows, middle-class people consume more of their income than do the wealthy. So strengthening the middle class gives the economy more bang for the buck than does further enriching the already rich. In a democracy, a strong middle class demands that governments be more responsive and accountable, and drives them to invest in the kinds of public goods that make our economy stronger. A new study that we commissioned finds that rising inequality and a weakening U.S. middle class is causing a breakdown in political and civic engagement, Less engagement means weaker institutions. Weaker institutions translate into worse governance and fewer public goods, hence slower growth. Finally, a strong middle class is where entrepreneurs and inventors and risk-takers come from. Nearly 3/4 of current U.S. entrepreneurs come from middle-class backgrounds. Strong middle-class families provide the education and financial stability needed for successful risk-taking. So let's return to the original supply-side model that we've been living under these past few decades. As we have just seen, this model is not only a failure, but it has everything backwards. This is a more accurate picture of how the economy works. Government policies should be designed to strengthen the middle class. A stronger middle class drives all the mechanisms that cause the economy to grow. And a robust economy helps everyone, including the wealthy. To learn more about specific policies that will strengthen our middle class, reduce inequality, and drive economic growth, please visit the Center for American Progress website.